Well, hi everyone, Shaun Humphries here. Welcome to All Things Retirement. Well, in this video, we're going to talk about some stereotypes, unfortunately, that are very persistent in our culture. And unless we fight those stereotypes, particularly as it relates to aging, it can have a really negative impact on our health. So I was reading a book by Becca Levy, PhD, who wrote a book called Breaking the Age Code. And she just shares some startling information about ageism and our thought patterns and how they impact our aging experience. So I think you'll enjoy this video. It's very, very applicable to retirement income planning. We don't save our money for retirement to then experience health issues and deterioration of energy and all the things that we think sometimes go with the aging process. We have ability to fight back against that, and that's what we'll talk about. Now, if you are new to our channel, make sure you hit the subscribe button. We're posting content all the time on various aspects of retirement planning and overall wealth planning, so hit subscribe to get future content. Hit like if you like the video. Okay, let's talk about the stereotypes that Becca talks about. So in her book, Becca cites a study that looked at Japanese culture and their attitude towards aging and compared that to European culture, but you could extrapolate, I think, to North America as well. And specifically in Japan, older males are actually like rock stars in the culture. They're revered in some ways. And if you compared aging males in North American and European culture, things like fragility, and they're in decline, and they're weak, and they're forgetful. There's all kinds of stereotypes or attitudes that come along with when we think about older folks in our culture. Not the case in Japan. In fact, when they did actual blood profiles of Japanese males, compare them to European males of the same age, they found that the Japanese men had higher levels of testosterone across the board than their European counterparts. And so the authors extrapolated from that and said, well, is there a possibility there's a connection between how they look at Japanese men, the fact that their hormone levels, particularly testosterone levels, were better, and they lived longer. So there probably is a connection, a very powerful connection when you connect, how we look at aging folks in our culture and then the impact on their longevity and their overall health. And the study goes on to talk about how we internalize those ideas, those negative ideas, can actually have a really big impact on our longevity and our own personal health as we phase into retirement and as we age. Now, she goes on to say in her book, there's an interesting paragraph, in study after study, I concluded, this is Becca, I found that older people with more positive perceptions of aging perform better physically and cognitively than those with more negative perceptions. They were more likely to recover from severe disability, they remembered better, and they walked faster, and they even lived longer. What was even more startling about her study was that she was able to show that many of the cognitive and physical or physiological challenges we experience as we get older can be linked to the attitudes and the thinking around growing old. Things like hearing loss and cardiovascular disease are also the products of age beliefs absorbed from our social surroundings. And she found that age beliefs can even act as a buffer against developing dementia and in people who carry the dreaded Alzheimer's gene. And then later in the introductory chapter, Becca goes on to talk about the fact that she found the single most important factor in determining longevity of inhabitants, more important than gender, income, social background, loneliness, or functional health, was how people thought about and approached the idea of old age. Age beliefs, it turns out, can steal or add nearly 8 years to your life. In other words, these beliefs don't just live in our heads. For better or worse, these mental images that are a product of our cultural diets that we consume all the time, very much at the subconscious level, actually can lead to either shorter life or longer life. And so in future videos, from time to time, I'm going to talk about Becca's research and how we can fight against these beliefs in our culture about aging and older folks, and how we can push back against those beliefs so that we don't subconsciously absorb it and have a negative impact on our own long-term health as we transition into retirement and then our later years into old age. Well, it's my hope that you found this video helpful. And again, if you're beginning to think about retirement, maybe you're already retired, you'd like to get a tune-up, a checkup about your retirement income planning, go to the show notes. There's a link to our website where you can find out on our homepage how you can get or access a complimentary retirement income plan. Again, if you're not subscribed, make sure you do that so you don't miss future content. And if you like the video, make sure you click like. Wishing you all the best in your retirement planning and overall wealth planning journey. You take care.